but I'm gonna taper with 0.5 here, and the back it's gonna be like a taper fade, kind of like quite high, and a lot of texture on the top.
Okay.
So we're gonna see how to create some separation. We're gonna do with the hair completely dry. I'm not gonna wet
Oh,
it
okay.
here.
Yeah.
So we can see right away the result of the texture.
Okay. And this is Rue. Good morning, Rue.
Good morning.
Thank you for being a model. We all know how important models are. Got to give them some love. Oh, Ricardo has the new Ergo clipper. He's going to give that a test out too. We'll talk about some pros and cons.
Yeah.
Powerful little machine, but very thin blade on it. So we have to be aware of, yeah, you can see that. Got to be aware of if you're doing a fade, it's going to get it super tight. So probably more for advanced barbering.
It comes with this guard with the magnet here.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah.
Okay. It's very steady.
Solid.
It feels like, yeah, really solid.
Okay, good. And that machine fits the wall guards too. So,
Yeah, so I'm gonna use the 1.5 guard
Right.
for the regular walls.
Yep, yeah. Because it doesn't come with a 1.5, unfortunately.
I'm not gonna use number 1. I'm gonna go 1.5 and skip into 0.5.
Okay.
So we're gonna create a nice transition.
Okay.
Since I use number 1.
There's the first pass.
Yeah, that's 1.5.
That's a 1.5.
So I'm cutting the bottom because obviously it's gonna be shorter. So now
Right.
we're gonna go with the 1.5 open. Sorry, 0.5 open. So I'm gonna try to avoid using number 1. So skipping that guard is gonna give us better contrast.
So going from the half to the 1.5 gives better contrast. Is that what you mean?
Using number 1, it would be probably too smooth.
Okay.
And I want to create a bigger contrast. Still, when I'm pushing all the lever all the way down, 0.5 is pretty much number 1.
Okay, yeah, right, because it opens to a half.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the half that Ricardo is doing the bottom with there, and then he previously did that section just above with a 1.5. And right now,
I didn't zero out the clippers, by the way.
right, this is out of the box. These new Stylecraft Ergo clippers, they cut pretty close right out of the box, but they can be zero gapped if you want them to be closer. Ricardo's just given us some feedback on the pros and cons of this clipper thus far.
It's very fast, so it is very powerful. I used it in 2 skin fades in a row.
Yep.
And I didn't feel lack of power or anything like that.
Okay.
So we're all the way through with the same power, so that's nice. I'm doing a skin fade. We were saying that before. All the way open. The hair might get stuck here if the hair is too thick.
Okay.
So what I did is just close it just a little bit.
Okay.
And it was fine.
Okay. Well,
that was probably a minor thing. The good thing is that it's really fast, so it allows you to go faster.
Okay.
With other clippers from other brands that they're more powerful, but the blade runs slower. You have to slow down a little bit.
Right.
But this one allows you to go really fast.
There we go.
So I have my precision scissors.
Yeah, the Yakit's 5.5-inch precision.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So we're gonna start the hair forward. We're gonna give him a lot of texture. His head is not too thin, but it's not too thick either. It's quite flexible. So
okay.
It's a really nice hair for this kind of haircut.
Perfect.
So the reason I'm gonna cut it dry, I said before, because that way I can see right away my texture, my work. Otherwise, if I do my point cutting or whatever technique we use for the texture, if it's too wet, sometimes it's okay. You want to be more aggressive, but in this case, I want to see right away what's happening, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, you do point cutting with the hair wet, and you don't really know exactly how much texture you're applying, so you have to dry to see the results. So since the hair is gonna go forward, I'm gonna combine two different type of texture. So I'm gonna do point cutting here, quite deep. Okay, I want to preserve the length as much as I can.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do point cutting outside, inside, and the next one we're gonna do the opposite. The next one we're gonna do inside, outside.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah.
So this way we're gonna create a lot of movement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you alternate.
You can see the separation we're creating.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So now next one we're gonna do the same thing.
Outside, inside.
Yeah. And then notice I don't do the regular point cutting. That is, it will affect the length. So I'm just gonna completely parallel to the hair.
Ricardo's been an educator for years, so this is all part of the regular tips and tricks that he suggests to.
Sorry, I'm not too tall. Okay. So again, I'm gonna remove what we did previously. So this one is gonna go inside, outside.
Yeah.
I'm blending now. I'm trying not to use thinning shears for this haircut.
Okay.
Thinning shears I have, there are 42 teeth. I'll show you guys. So for me, very versatile, but it's gonna give us a too smooth finish.
Okay.
So I don't wanna smooth the transitions too much.
Okay, so no thinning scissors at all. Just gonna texture with your scissors.
Yeah.
So you just
maybe at the end, if I see any line I created with the regular shears, maybe I can just give a little touch. But I'm not gonna do the blending with the thinning shears, which will be easier probably, but I'm not gonna get the effect I'm looking for.
So just going in with the point basically to yeah, I've always heard that thinning scissors are just kind of a shortcut. You can get the same results using your scissors, and that's effectively what you're doing here.
Yeah, and I'm looking for more movement. If I use my thinning shears, it will be really nice and smooth.
Okay.
So for a classic cut, probably will be perfect.
Yeah.
But for what I want here, that's what I was saying before. It's gonna smooth the transitions too much.
There can be such a thing as too smooth.
Yeah.
Nice to have some texture.
So we are gonna create some space underneath.
Oh, cool. Getting right down to the root there, or is that
right to the root, but pretty close?
like a third up there? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. But I have my scissors parallel to the hair,
Yeah.
which is different if I have it this, if I put it this way, right? If I put it this way, I'm gonna cut a little more.
Yeah.
Create more volume here.
Okay.
So sometimes we have someone with a flat head here in the back. You wanna be a little more aggressive in that area. So you're gonna create really short hairs. Those short hairs are gonna push the top hairs.
Ah, okay.
There's some nice volume here. So don't be scared of doing that. Just do it properly. But if we don't create that, this part might be too flat compared to the top. So in order to create a nice shape from the bottom to the back, or create a nice balance, we have to work in that geometry, right? Otherwise, if the back is too flat, especially in the crop cuts, it looks a little bit unbalanced.
Okay.
So that way it becomes lighter and more volume, so I have a nice shape from the crown. So now I'm gonna combine with another technique that everybody knows, but it's important to know how to apply this technique as well. So we use the premise that short hair pushes long hair. We can direct the hair in whatever direction we want, right? So for example, you can see, you come closer, you can see these pieces here. This is still a little bit too thick to me, so I'm gonna start cutting here. So these short hairs are gonna push the long hairs in that direction.
Okay.
So it's in here. So you alternate from inside to outside. You see, I comb the hair with my fingers, whatever I feel is thick, too thick and too heavy.
Okay.
I'm gonna break it inside.
The
You
natural
create,
comb.
Yeah.
smaller pieces that you can
Yeah.
see.
Get out your finger comb and distribute the weight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. Yeah. That's what I
You see, we created another separation here. So you can have an idea already once you apply your product here, how much movement you're gonna have all the way, right?
Yeah.
Of course, this is your signature, so you decide how much texture to apply. Make sure you apply in the right direction.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I want this hair kind of like going forward, so I'm gonna use that technique from here, from this side.
I actually.
So the hair will be forced going more in that direction.
So
So I will do the opposite on the other side.
cooking is pretty boring these days. Yeah, that's fair. But I was thinking about maybe trying to like go and do some of that. Yeah, that seems so weird. Yeah. Like in that way.
We're gonna create a big separation between the section.
Okay.
Have a big pieces. You can see already the result.
Yeah.
The same thing here. I want the hair going in that direction.
Yeah.
So I approach from here.
Yeah.
And the short hairs will push it that way.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like, well, okay, that's
Cool.
Okay, you can play with your scissors as well. Changing the direction, changing the flow. We're going in this direction. The moment I reach the ends, I change the direction.
Huh. Yeah, yeah.
Going that way.
Just navigating your scissors through the hair to determine the direction of the flow that you want to create. Huh.
Okay, you guys see the movement that we already have?
Yeah.
If I do that with wet hair, it would be much harder to see what's
Right.
going on.
Yeah, yeah. That's the advantage.
And just think when the hair is wet, the hair is gathered together more. So you're cutting 10 times more than you think you're cutting.
Right.
Right? So sometimes you do it with the hair wet, and when you dry the hair, you realize that you cut too much.
Right.
You apply too much texture. Not too aggressive here on the front.
There we
You
go.
can get a better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going in this direction. If it's too long here, you might cut underneath a little bit. So you're gonna see the line is not very, it's not a crisp line. So you might need to go back later, to come back later to make this line cleaner.
Oh yeah, great.
I like how you brace it against your thumb like that just to get there.
I told you I'm lazy, so.
How does that make you lazy? This looks precise.
Yes.
Anything like your car? No.
Lazy in that you don't want to have to start over, do repairs. I like that.
So what I do,
That
I just
sideburn is cool.
I rest the blade on my thumb,
Yeah.
and I do two things. I push with my thumb, but at the same time I push, I pull the skin.
Oh,
So I
okay.
pull the skin out.
You draw it
push with
towards
my
the
thumb.
blade.
So instead of
Yeah.
just moving my blade.
Yeah.
So you're less precise moving only your blade than
Yeah.
just putting here and just pushing with your thumb.
Oh,
right?
cool. Yeah,
So that
yeah.
way I'm able to cut one hair, two
Yeah.
hairs, whatever I like.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You pay attention on here, I'm not moving my blade at all.
Yeah.
It's my thumb. And at the same time I'm pulling the skin a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have no idea how precise you can be. Sometimes you just do this movement, you cut 3 hairs,
Right,
and then you're pushing the line back too much.
right.
So you have a electric shaver or foil. You can use it for the back. I normally don't shave here. Not everybody likes shaving the back.
Oh, really?
Some skin in the back can be a little bit sensitive,
Oh, okay.
especially when the hair grows back. So if they're not gonna moisturize the neck, you put some cream every day.
Yeah.
Using the razor here, some people might be a little bit sensitive.
Oh, okay, so that's why you use the foil.
Yes,
I
use
see.
the foil.
Yeah.
Unless I see there's a lot of hair on my client, I go, can you shave me with the straight razor? Then I do it.
Okay.
But I prefer to do it with this.
Yeah. Just using the very edge of your top foil.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid straight lines, which is something that happens sometimes.
Yeah, very light foil technique.
So what I'm doing is basically a point cutting, the same way we would do with scissors like this, but obviously it's too short.
Yeah.
So I'm using the same idea, the same concept, but with my foil, just going against the grain, doing point cutting.
Right.
Okay. Or the same way with the trimmers or clippers.
Right.
It's the same technique, we're just using different tools. Okay, we're gonna wash it now.
I was gonna say.
Of course.
Barber forever. Can't help it, sorry, I love it. I got my first car look in 1996, and since then, I never stopped using car looks.
Yeah, they're pretty reliable, no doubt. All kinds of new dryers coming on the market, as we all know. And some of them are pretty spectacular, but they certainly don't have the durability and long life and dependability of the Carlux.
I'm just gonna put quickly some of the grooming spray.
Yeah, that's
just to get a little more volume.
This is
Oops. Make sure it's not facing you and spread it on your eyes.
Unless you need a little lift. A few little spurts is all it takes. This is a grooming spray. The Reserve, of course, is our signature brand. This is just going to give you a little bit of extra hold and texture. Natural.
Especially for hairs like mine, pumps and comforters and all that stuff. You need something like this. Otherwise, in a few hours, doesn't matter what you put on your hair. The hair is gonna collapse.
Okay, so that just gives it more longevity, keeps things.
Yeah, my hair is gonna be like this all day long.
Yeah.
So we're gonna apply a little of fiber.
Yeah, that's the sure. That's the Hunter 1114 fiber gum.
You can see the.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's quite dry. It looks a little bit creamy, but it's drier than it looks like.
Okay.
Probably been too much, but it's okay.
These are all water soluble products, so that just rinsing will eliminate them.
Just to show you guys all the pieces that we created before.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the texture that you created earlier. Now just the product is refining it and defining it.
Yeah. If the texture is you created a texture, the client might be able to reproduce the same thing.
Yeah.
If you try to use only product to fix what you didn't do in the haircut, the client is not going to be able to do the same thing. 100% guaranteed.
Yeah, yeah. So that
so make
texture,
it easy for them.
The texture that you create in the style needs to be in the cut. Otherwise, it's going to be.
You can't fake it. You can fake it, but it's going to look good today only.
Right.
And the client is going to go back home and he's not going to be able to do that at all.
Right.
So you can see, I just use my fingers to dry the hair, and I'm just using my fingers now to place the section or the texture where I want it.
So it's still marketing and people are like using more Barber.
What do you think, Ryu?
Good.
Okay.
Go.
Thank God he said good. I don't like it on live. And by the way, this is not just only for the video. This is exactly what I do with my clients.
Yeah.
Spend the time I need to spend with my client to do this.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yes, yes. Okay.
That's awesome. That looks great. I'm just going to do a 360 here.
To have a nicer. I don't like when there's a cut here and it looks flat.
Right. Cool. Beautiful.
It's very simple. It's easy to maintain, easy to style. It's not too aggressive. You can see it's just a little taper. He doesn't want to go down to 0, so not everybody likes skin fade. But still, this haircut will look great with a skin fade as well.
Right.
So there's different variations you can do. We could have tapered all the way around, but it was just to get that little touch of tapering only here and here, a little bit darker around the ear, just to create a, some contrast. So it's quite high, the 1.5. So transitions, the blending is pretty much like up here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the haircut is quite square in terms of shape, quite square.
Mm-hmm.
And on the top is a little more round. I didn't really pay attention on the geometry on the top because it's all texture, a lot of directions. But I would say it's more square. If you come behind me, you can see a little bit the shape. Okay, the shape is more square.
Yeah, right.
You still can play.
Yeah.
And it's super popular on Instagram. This kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So you can see. So the shape is more square than round.
Yeah.
But you can just apply whatever you want. You can even go more for triangle or for a full hog type. So it's very versatile. So that's one of the good things going with a square shape. Allows you to do something like this. Allows you to round it, or allows you to go for more square shape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you go for a round shape from the beginning, you're not going to be able to square
Right.
the haircut, right? So it's always safer going for the square shape, and you just go from there. If it looks too square for the client, you can always round it and go for more triangular shape.
You got more versatility if you go square.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, that's all, folks.
Thank you. Looks great. Thank you very much. Always appreciate the models.
I should show this to my client.
Yeah, right. An important step. Make sure your client sees the back of their head.
Hey.
A round of applause even.